welcome to the show. Verbal components required. Today we are going to be covering alignments. I'm Igor.
I'm Bailey.
And unfortunately, today Lewis is not with us. He was flung off a cliff while skiing down North Korea. So he made it out alive. He made it out alive, but he's going to be a moment. He's not going to join us until next episode.
No. Hopefully, he'll bring the Spice Girls. Just saying. I'd be excited.
Okay, that would be pretty exciting. Let's get down to business then. Alignments are what define the character's moral alignment, pretty much. That's that how you put it?
Yeah, I think alignments well, what does the word alignment mean? It's about your, or something's, ability to line up with something else. It's how it fits. And in D&D, we refer to alignment in the sense of moral alignment, and we then fit them into several categories. What are those, Igor?
Well, the four main ones are good and evil, two opposing ones, and another pair of opposing ones, lawful and chaotic.
Yeah. So we've got a spectrum of good and evil, spectrum of lawful and chaotic.
And each cover a wide range of concepts, I'd say. There's quite a bit to discuss. So let's dig into good first. What's the goodest person you can think of? Or should I say, who is the goodest person you can think of?
Who is the goodest? The goodest person. Maybe, you know what? The first thing that came into my head was Superman. He, I would argue, may epitomize good. He focuses on helping other people, as far as I'm aware anyway. I am not a super expert on Superman, but the way I view him is focusing on other people, helping for the betterment of everyone. He seldom sacrifices other people, and I think he's some epitome of good, in some sense.
That is very good.
That is. It's very good.
Good as a concept is not always black and white. There's a lot to consider when it comes to good. Because, well, sometimes people's opinions and perspectives of the world change, and what one person might view as good, some might view as very evil, depending on upbringing or even the current time or place. I mean, back in the day, killing heretics was seen as a good thing.
Yeah.
And nowadays, killing people in general is not a good thing, unless there's some instances where it's justified by some people, but
yeah,
there's a lot of vague ideas about being good.
Yeah, I think before we jump into the different alignments fully, it is important to consider the fact that morality isn't, well, big philosophical discussion here, but I would argue morality is not objective. There is no objective good, because things can be justified, things can be subjectively good, depending on your culture, your religion, your beliefs. There are different views on what is good, and I think D&D takes the alignment and makes morality objective, or at least it kind of somewhat coerces you into making morality objective. And
I wouldn't say it's D&D itself, it's more how the players interpret alignment in D&D.
Yeah. I think by sectioning off these alignments into a spectrum of good and evil and lawful and chaotic, the system leads you into thinking that there is an objective good. There is a set of qualities or a pattern of action that defines good. And I think it's also interesting to consider that that isn't necessarily the case. But D&D does definitely coerce you into thinking that.
Well, with that philosophical debate out of the way, let's look at evil. Evil is the alignment usually associated with the villains in your D&D game, but you can just as easily create an evil character. And once again, as it is with good, there's no simple answers because every villain, no villain is evil for the sake of being evil, unless you count Doofenshmirtz.
I mean, is he evil?
I feel he wants to be evil for the sake of being evil, but he's not really.
Yeah. I think it's hard for us to conceive of true evil. Even, I'm not going to name any particular historical figures because there's a fair few, but even in our own world, in history, there are people that we call evil, but then, sure, yes, their actions are terrible, but they may have felt like they were justified. Some of them anyway, not all of them, they may have felt that what they were doing was good. And so
Yeah,
for us to truly conceive of pure objective evil is very
it's
difficult.
very difficult, yeah. Although in D&D there's quite a fair few examples of things that are evil in nature. Thinking devils and demons,
Yes.
thinking undead. Those things are evil because of the way they exist. Their purpose is to be evil.
Yeah. I
But
think
when it
a
comes to
good set of examples from D&D itself are the demon lords like Orcus or Demogorgon. Orcus wants the destruction of all life simply because there is no greater reason. He doesn't think what he's doing is good in nature. He doesn't think of himself as righteous, as far as I'm aware. He is solely wanting the destruction of all life because it annoys him and because he feels that would serve him, and that's it. And then similarly, Demogorgon is just completely insane.
just batshit crazy.
Yeah, that's just two heads snapping at each other, trying to rule everything in the most crazy way.
So these kinds of evil, like it's understandable, like, but for a human character or a human-like character, it's very difficult to label yourself as evil
Yeah.
in a lot of cases, uh, because a lot of the time villains think their actions are justified. I mean, just look at Thanos. He wouldn't consider
Yeah.
himself evil. He's doing
Uh,
a great mercy
yeah. I,
to
in
the
fact,
universe.
have had a lengthy discussion about Thanos' alignment, and I don't think he's evil. I don't think he's evil
No,
either.
I don't think he's evil either. I'd
He,
probably label him as a lawful neutral, maybe even the lawful good.
yeah. His actions, I think this is something we'll also get into. His actions could be viewed as evil, but his ultimate goal is not.
That is another thing we have to touch upon, but we
Yeah.
will touch upon that a tad bit later. Uh, Now, let's move on to the lawful and chaotic uh, spectrum, starting with
Yes.
lawful.
Yeah. Lawful is the embodiment of structure and order. It is things moving rhythmically together in sync. And someone who is lawful, I mean, it says it right on the tin, it is about obeying the law, and the law is a structure to follow. It's really about obeying the system.
Yeah, although now that we've talked about evil and good, how those are very vague, and you can't really set good and evil in stone. I think lawful and chaotic are different, and I think that there definitely is some rules to follow.
Yeah, I think lawful and chaotic are easier to distinguish.
Yeah. Lawful, you did mention following the law, following a system, but lawful could just as well be breaking the actual law and following your own code, or
Yeah,
having like an organized crime code. The
yeah,
system doesn't necessarily have to be the law of the realm, because then every lawful character would be neutral or good. Lawful evil wouldn't exist.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I lawful is a fun concept to play
It
around
is.
with.
It's a hard one to play, I think.
It's a hard one to
Um,
play in game, definitely. What's the
yeah,
most lawful you can think of? Who's the most
like
lawful?
the epitome of lawful to me is like a desk worker in a bureaucracy who spends their time filling out the paperwork to the letter, doing everything by the book. They're not, to me, what I picture as the epitome of lawful isn't too grandiose, but it is about structure and doing everything properly.
Yeah, being part of a bigger thing, a bigger system.
Yeah, routine.
Routine, that's a good one. Now, the other side of the coin, chaotic.
Yes.
The most chaotic I can think of is probably, uh, I don't know, punk rock.
Okay.
Breaking rules for the sake of breaking rules. Graffiti, pretty much that.
Yeah, I think chaotic, it's on the opposite end of lawful because it's not about routine. It's about doing whatever feels right in the moment. It
Yeah,
is, I feel like there is less foresight with chaos. There is more action. It is more of a desire to act than a lawful sit back and think contemplation.
yeah. I think chaotic alignment is usually a lot centered around the self than
Yeah,
lawful, but not maybe in a greedy way, but more they cherish the individual more than the
yeah,
system.
yeah. It's about people more than structure.
Yeah.
I mean, what can we think of as the epitome of chaos?
Epitome of chaos, a graffiti artist.
Yeah,
There's no real reason to do graffiti. It breaks the
I mean,
law, and
yeah,
it's I wouldn't argue it's like a necessary crime. Like you're not you might steal, and there might be like a really good reason for you to steal, like your family's poor, or you need to steal food for your child or something. Graffiti,
okay,
there's no purpose to graffiti except for looking a certain way.
okay. I see what you mean. I think, I think there is. I would argue there is a purpose to graffiti and things like that because it is about artistic expression
Expression.
and so on. But I
Okay, there's that, but
do
there's
see
no
what you mean.
practical purpose.
Yeah,
That's kind of what I meant.
yeah,
Uh, and then, with what kind of chaotic you are, good, lawful, and evil, depends on what it is you graffiti onto that wall. If you're drawing
yeah.
position, that's neutral. I don't think we're
Okay,
allowed to say that.
phallic
In
graffiti.
hindsight, I
That's where this
think
has gone.
I think Lewis might have to cut that comment.
Ooh,
So now that we've covered good, evil, lawful, and chaotic, let's take a look at the 9 different combinations on the spectrum. Starting off with lawful good. Bigley, what's the lawful good?
lawful, lawful good. It's I think this might be one of the most famous D&D alignments. Um, I think the paladin is. So I was doing some research, and up to and including third edition of D&D, it was a requirement for the paladin to be lawful good. That was a requirement. It wasn't an option. You had to be lawful good to be a paladin. Um, that's no longer the case. But I think even so, there is a collective view that paladins tend to be lawful good. They are this
Yeah.
bastion of structure and order, and they do everything that is considered morally good, perhaps to a fault due to the lawful side of it.
I think that's a very fair statement. And could it be perhaps that this image of the lawful good paladin is now present thanks to it previously being a requirement for the paladin to be lawful good?
Yeah, I think that requirement has really ingratiated the image into everyone's minds of the paladin is lawful good. I don't think that has to be the case.
I certainly don't think so either, but for now, lawful good is a solid choice for paladin still.
Yeah,
And the way I try to play lawful good generally is just trying to be a good and orderly person. The kind of person that would snitch on you if you try to steal from a shop.
yeah. I think lawful good. um, Somewhere in the internet, there is definitely the phrase "lawful good doesn't mean nice," and I think that
Yes.
sometimes lawful good can be irritating,
I think a
especially
lot
if
of the
you're on the
time,
receiving end. Yeah,
yeah, the receiving end of lawful good isn't always, well, fun. Lawful good can do a lot of saving the poor and burning the heretics, but smiting evil doesn't always mean the character is a nice person. And the
no,
lawful good side, especially the lawful side, I mean, it's a pain in the ass.
it
Uh,
definitely can be.
yeah,
How could you play a um, more party friendly lawful good then?
more party friendly.
Yeah, less of a
Hmm.
snitch.
It honestly depends on the party composition.
Okay,
Uh, but I'd probably more focus on uh, the character's goals than the character's actions and methods.
okay,
We mentioned it briefly earlier, but I think now's a good time to bring it back
yeah.
and go into more detail.
Before we delve in fully to the different combinations.
Exactly. Alignment isn't just a dictation of how one should act. It's comprised of many different layers, I think, which include a character's motives, what drives the character to do things, the end goal of a character,
Yeah,
and what actions they're willing to take to get there. As an example, just because, I mean, Thanos is the best example I'd say for this. I can't think of a better example off the top of my
yeah,
head. His ultimate goal was to make sure that a universe thrives, and
yeah,
his method happened to be viewed as evil. But the end goal, if you were told that someone's motivation was for the universe to thrive, you wouldn't consider them an evil person.
No, that's a selfless act. And to me, selflessness is good.
Exactly. Uh, so probably, if I were to play a party-friendly lawful good, I'd do this. I'd try to pull a selfless act with the motive, but allow the actions to go borderline lawful neutral. Borderline, as long as it furthers the goal, it's fine, and have the goal be something that a lot of people can be like, yeah, I see that. That's good. That's very lawful good.
Yeah, I think Thanos, his worldview, his ultimate goal is good aligned. He is selfless. He is aiming for the betterment of others. And he's doing that at potential great cost to himself. He,
Yeah, I mean, he lost. sent pretty much all his loved ones.
Yeah, yeah. At his own hand, somewhat. Spoilers.
By his own hand, but still.
Yeah, I think ultimately his actions were selfless. Or his goal anyway was selfless. His actions may not have been as good aligned. His process of doing it, in order to achieve this ultimate good aligned goal, he did a lot of sacrificing others and
Yeah.
stealing, fighting, killing. This good aligned goal, the only way he could achieve it was through destruction of half of the universe.
Yeah.
Which,
Although, he does say a line which I think summarizes his alignment very neatly. In all my years of conquest, it was never personal. I think that's the defining trait that doesn't make him evil.
Yeah, I think
It was
Thanos.
never personal to him. It was always for the purpose of a higher goal, a better goal. Thanos is not evil, and if I were playing a lawful good but party friendly, I'd probably try to pull a similar selfless act, albeit with a lot less evil.
Okay, yeah, I think I may be using the term correctly or incorrectly. Who knows? Not me. But I think Thanos would be considered an anti-villain, someone who is the villain, but not because they're doing bad things, but out of necessity to achieve their ultimate good aligned goals.
I mean,
So
I
yeah,
have no clue what an anti-villain is, so I can't
okay,
correct you.
I half know, but not fully. But yeah,
I
I
only know the
think
villain part.
nice. There's definitely a difference between alignment when considering your ultimate goals, your motivations, your ideals, and then alignment when considering the method by which you will achieve those goals. Because
Yeah,
those usually tend to be one and the same, but sometimes they can be very different. And I think that's definitely worth considering, especially when making a
yeah,
character.
of course. I like the fact that there are so many layers to alignment, and how just because two characters are lawful evil doesn't necessarily mean they act in a similar way at all.
No,
I think that makes alignment really great,
yeah,
personally.
there's great versatility within each alignment.
Yeah. Now, uh, what is the next alignment on the chart? Or do we want to go over characters we've made / want to make that are lawful good?
We can talk about that.
Okay. What character do you want to make that's lawful good, Bailey? Go on.
Okay. I'm trying to think of any characters I've made that were lawful good. Don't think I've made many. Um, for the actually, speaking of the um, separation of goals and actions in terms of alignment, I did make a lawful good character for your Ravnica one shot.
Oh.
He was lawful good. He was a 17th or 18th level paladin of the Orzhov Syndicate, who are famously very greedy, very money grabbing. Um, he was a high ranking, I think he was a pontiff in the Orzhov Syndicate, very high ranking officer, official.
Yes, I made you guys all really, really powerful because I was going to throw a nightmare of creatures at you.
Yeah, and that you did. But the he was a paladin of the Orzhov Syndicate, and despite being of the Orzhov Syndicate, he considered himself lawful good. And that's the alignment I put down. Because when it came from one key decision, and that was choosing proficiency in persuasion instead of deception, which to me conveyed that he believed what he said. The the Orzhov Syndicate's all about how you can... It's a big crime organization, and it's all about how you can pay the church to get rid of your sins. Very medieval Europe. But he believed every word of it. He didn't think he was deceiving people. He genuinely believed that if people paid him and he put that money into the church's vaults, then those people were relieved of their sins. Now, what he's actually doing is fleecing them for money. But what he believes he's doing is a righteous act, and for that reason he was lawful good.
So a bit of a, how do you put it, misguided lawful good.
Yeah, I think definitely misguided.
If he knew what he was doing in reality, he wouldn't do it.
Yeah, he wasn't a fool, but he was misguided in his beliefs.
That is a very interesting character. We haven't really explored any characters in the Ravnica one-shot. Kind of wish we did.
Yeah.
That is a fault in my DMing.
Nah, it was fun regardless. I'm sure we can always come back to it if we wanted to.
Oh no, I have completely lost literally everything that I had to do with the Ravnica one-shot. I don't even remember the character you guys met. There was one crucial NPC and I don't remember what it was.
I think it was Azakar.
Did I actually name him Azakar?
I think you did.
Oh my god.
I have the note that you gave to one of the players here. In fact, I may have binned it the other day. But I have something. Anyway.
Still holding on to this after literally months.
Yeah. I'm a hoarder, Igor. I can't give it up. I need it all. I have all of our character sheets.
I can't think of any lawful good characters I've made.
What about ones you'd want to play?
Ones I'd want to play?
You feeling inspired?
Am I feeling inspired? Lawful Good, I personally never wanted to play because I feel it's the most overused / boring archetype.
Okay.
Alignment. I personally think that most of the other alignments have something more to offer, some more character to work with.
Okay.
Something more to develop. The best I can think of is a human fighter, but that's every other character. That's not just me talking, it's science.
Nice. It is.
We're going to have to ask you to bring up that specific table that everyone knows about.
Yes. Yeah, but I think I would want to play a lawful good character. I think we as a group, as players, and probably a lot of other groups out there, tend to have the overall party alignment be fairly neutral, but borderline evil sometimes. We don't stick to...
I think that might be on account of the fact a lot of groups are players of video games. We're video game players. And we come to Dungeons and Dragons, and no one plays it like... No one focuses on the role-playing aspect. Well, not no one, but a lot of people tend to focus on the game aspect.
Yeah.
And when you're playing a video game, your actions have far less moral significance.
Yeah. You don't go through Doom
by looting stuff.
Yeah. Like, you don't go through Doom trying to befriend all of these fiendish creatures. You go through hack and slash style. Similar thing with like Diablo. There's some character interaction, but a lot of the game is trying to win. There is a tendency to defeat the enemy and try to win. And I think actually that ties us back into alignments nicely. I think that's where this objective dichotomy of alignments comes from. There is good and there is evil. Why? Because we're playing a game. It is very easy to...
That could be it, yeah.
Play a game. And...
Although, now that I think about it, I think Undertale is a good example of a game that tries to teach us that you're not just playing a game.
Okay.
It's a game that tries to introduce some amount of moral significance.
Yeah.
And if people played D&D with Undertale in mind as a video game, I think we'd have a lot more good aligned / evil aligned parties.
Yeah.
Moving on.
But I think
Neutral good.
Yeah. Neutral good. Is that the way we're going then?
Yeah. I
Okay.
think personally, the neutral alignments to me stand as at least the ones on the borders. We're ignoring true neutral. I think
Yeah.
the neutral alignments are the epitome of the other alignment it's attached to. So neutral good in this
Okay.
case is the epitome of good
Okay.
out of the 3 good alignments, because it allows the good to not be clouded by either law or chaos.
Yeah. I think we didn't really talk about neutral before, but to me, the neutral parts of the spectrum are they're a freedom from the restrictions of either end. You can go either way depending on the situation to suit the second part of your alignment.
Yeah, which is why I personally like the neutral alignments a lot.
Yeah, I think most decent human beings are probably neutral good in the real world.
Yeah.
No, not many people are completely by the book, and not many people are completely anarchists. Everyone's kind of somewhere in between there. I think most people are somewhere at neutral good. Maybe less on the good part, but you know.
This does remind me. You have to remember this is a spectrum. It's very difficult to make it block by block, because people aren't block by block. You can't pigeonhole someone into an alignment.
Yeah.
It's going to be somewhere in between this gray area. Like, not to get political, but have you ever taken the political compass quiz?
I have.
I have as well. So it gives a spectrum of left wing, right wing, and anarchist to whatever the other one is.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it's like communist to fascist on the x-axis, and then y is what is y?
Yeah, but I can't think of what Y is. But the point is, that sort of spectrum, if they had that for alignment,
yeah,
it would work far better, I'd say. Someone needs to design a political alignment quiz. What percentage of lawful are you?
Yes.
But yeah.
What I think. Neutral good. What kind of character do you picture when you hear neutral good?
Well, and now that you mention it, I picture my current character in Lewis's game, Sop Tangleberry.
Ah, yes.
He is neutral good. I chose it because he just wants to be good. He has been raised with people being good to him. He grew up with an adopted family, and they treated him like a part of the family, even though he was very different. He had a very good relationship with his brother, and people being good to him when he was little means he now wants to be good. Also, the nature of his warlock patron makes him eternally happy.
Yeah.
And he is just a happy soul that wants to spread joy, wants to spread goodness. He has no real end goal apart from personal goals, such as finding his missing brother.
Yeah.
Which is something I have been trying to do, but every time there's this tiny chance, no, not quite. Oh, I need to find them.
Yeah.
What about you? What kind of neutral good characters do you have in mind?
I mean, I see neutral good as doing whatever it takes to achieve good in terms of chaotic versus lawful. So they may break the law at times to achieve good, or break their own code of conduct, or they may go through the legal system if that appears to be the best option. I think that's what's important, really. It's whatever approach is the best option to achieve good. That is what the neutral good character does.
Yeah, I feel like the alignments without lawful or chaotic in them. So the three neutral alignments, neutral, good,
Yeah.
neutral, neutral, and I feel those are the ones without real big goals usually associated with. I
Yeah,
feel
it can
lawful
be.
and chaotic would be the more idealistic with big goals.
Yeah.
That could just be my opinion, but what's a neutral good goal that you can think of?
Neutral good goal. I mean, to me, neutral good, going back to the what is the best option to do good, it may be just generally helping citizens of a particular area. And the best way to do that may be they may have to choose between going to court over something, or they may do some vigilante work, and they may be looking at these as two viable options. And the neutral good character, I think, is the one that really has to contemplate those two options. That's kind of what I would see a neutral good character doing or thinking about.
Okay, so what about chaotic good?
Chaotic good. That is the truly kind of. I feel like chaotic good is I'm aiming for good, but I'm not really following the rules on my way there.
Yeah.
I think Torville, my bard in your game, was chaotic good. Um,
Mm.
his ultimate actions were for the betterment of people, but he was, a little bit sleazy. He was a little bit deceptive and uh, didn't wasn't the most forthright person most of the time.
Yeah. I feel chaotic good. You know what really strikes me as chaotic good?
Ooh,
Do you know any anime where the character is like, oh my god, how do I describe it? The best example I can think of is Dan from Bakugan. Have you ever watched Bakugan?
I have not.
Okay, so uh, his chosen element for the game is fire, and
Okay.
characters that epitomize that sort of element. Hard-headed, don't think things through, but are ultimately good people. I think that is the chaotic good I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I can see that.
They don't really think things through, almost thinking with their fist, eager to punch
Yeah,
something or fight the bad guy instead of actually thinking what's the best move.
yeah. I think I was just looking at my notes here of what I was thinking about before. Um, and chaotic good really very much along those lines. Very much, I think, following their conscience, but not really caring then how others look at that. Not really being too concerned with the specific actions they're taking.
Yeah,
They're just acting. They're following their conscience to do good, and they're not really concerned with the consequences as much.
that is, yeah, chaotic good. What I imagine chaotic good to be in a nutshell. Although, as per usual, with all these alignments, you can make the chaotic good very layered. For example, the ultimate goal can be to bring about ruin to a tyrannical reign, uh, like, bring down a tyrant, all rebellion style.
Yeah,
Uh, but the actions leading up to that don't strictly have to be good aligned.
yeah. I think, in fact, that's a very good example of a chaotic good's actions. Actually, um, rebellion, mutiny,
Rebellion,
overthrowing
mutiny,
something.
overthrowing something evil. That's chaotic good
Yeah,
goals.
blammo, chaotic good.
What chaotic good characters have you played or have in mind to play?
I mentioned Torville. He's
Yeah.
um, may be the only. He can't be the only chaotic good character I've played. I think I tend to make barbarians chaotic good if I do make one, usually for one shot. I tend to view chaotic good also as, in terms of a good aligned barbarian, chaotic good because strength is power and power is to be used for good. And so the strongest has the most power, and that's the barbarian's outlook. They have a lot of power because of their strength and can therefore use that to enact good in
Do
the
a lot
world.
of good. Yeah. Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah.
I'm currently working on a chaotic good character, actually. For the play-by-post game.
Okay.
The monk I'm designing, his backstory is going to include getting kicked out of the monastery he was a part of for breaking a sacred rule to find information out.
Yeah.
Information that he thinks he needs to do something about. I will go into details later. I don't want to spoil the character for you.
Yeah.
But essentially, he's going to be very, he's not going to think things through very much. He's going to be very basic in that regard.
Yeah. Acting
Always
because
eager
it's
to
right.
punch things. Yes. Acting on instinct. What's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
Well
chaotic good. That brings us to the end of the good line. It's only downhill from here.
Oh. Or uphill. Depends on your perspective.
Oh, depending on, yeah. Well, lawful neutral. The first of the neutral alignment. I personally think the neutral alignments are the more boring ones. If there's no good or evil involved, I feel it gets a tad bit boring.
I think the neutral alignments, they aren't zealots of a morality. They aren't striving for ultimate good or evil, but they're more realistic. I think most people tend to be closer to somewhere between good and neutral. Yeah, I think they're more realistic.
Yeah, that's very fair. Although at the same time, there are definitely good people and there are definitely evil people.
Oh yeah.
Playing a neutral character to me feels like a bit of an easy way out.
Okay.
And Lawful Neutral is not one of these alignments. I think Lawful Neutral has some potential.
Okay.
I'm thinking of a character that maybe not strictly follows the law or has a particular code of conduct, but the kind of character that makes a lot of promises and always strives to keep them. Not because it's a good thing to do, but because they made a goddamn promise and it's important to them to keep it.
Their word is their bond.
Yeah, so something like that.
Yeah, I think lawful neutral. There is definitely an order to their lifestyle. There is routine, and there is respect for the power of their own word and giving promises. You should follow them, and so on. I think the neutral part of it emphasizes they don't necessarily have an ultimate world goal. They aren't striving to better the world, but they're probably not striving to ruin it either. They are living their life and are doing so in an ordered manner and perhaps an influential one, but not a hugely changing one.
This is kind of like how I mentioned with neutral good. I don't really see an ultimate goal for the neutral alignments, but there is something to say about how it's not clouded by good or evil. They don't follow the rules because it's a good thing to do, or they don't follow a code specifically to oppress people. They follow the code because it's a code. It's meant to be followed.
Yeah. I think in that same vein as well, continuity. That's the only real ultimate goal I can think of for a lawful neutral character, is maintaining the state of things. They don't necessarily want things to change for better or worse. They just want them to be as they are, in the order that they are. Because change means chaos. And that's not what lawful people are about.
That's very fair. It kind of reminds me of one of the Warlock patrons in Compendium of Forgotten Secrets, the Eternal Citadel.
Yes.
I think that's a very good Lawful Neutral Warlock patron, because the Citadel's goal is essentially exactly what you just said. It's maintaining structures, preserving things.
Yeah.
No matter whether they should be preserved or not.
Yeah. I don't have much else to say on Lawful Neutral.
Yeah, it's kind of a boring alignment, let's be honest.
Wow. I think it all depends on how you make your character, really.
Yeah.
It's somewhat boring to us because we're not. I usually apply my alignment after making a character, so I might be surprised to find that they turn out to be lawful neutral. But I personally don't have any alignments or any interesting character ideas for lawful neutral at the moment.
See, I usually do the opposite. I usually try to think what alignment I want to build, what personality I want to build around that alignment, and come up with a backstory to justify that personality, that outlook on the world. That's how Davriel got created.
Yeah.
I came up with his outlook on the world, his alignment, and had to come up with a tragic backstory for him. But we'll touch on Davriel later.
Yeah.
Next up, True Neutral.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have no clue what to say about this alignment.
I think the term may be medically outdated, but I've read and heard a lot of things about this alignment being described as sociopathic or even psychopathic. This is, you're not doing things because they are good or evil, and you're not restricting yourself to lawful or chaotic. You are truly neutral. And I think there's a strange flexibility with that. You are acting to do what you want, how you want, when you want. That is how I would view true neutral.
Yeah, it's very, very strange, true neutral.
Yeah.
Especially for it to be a stable alignment for a character. I'd understand true neutral if it was as part of a transition from a character who's trying to redeem themselves from being evil to being good. Or perhaps for some entity that has a purpose of keeping the balance between law and chaos, evil and good in order.
Yeah.
But just flat out a person, a human-like person being true neutral, it feels very odd.
It's very hard to picture, I think, because it's not the kind of thing we tend to experience in our own lives. Someone who is, well, I don't know. I would consider myself close to true neutral, but it is usually not something we tend to experience. Like, I personally, I am not a noble person. I would not be striving for ultimate good goals. Although I can understand that people do, I personally wouldn't. But I'm also not evil. I'm not malicious, or I don't tend to aim to ruin the world, usually.
You have your weak moments.
Yeah.
Like everyone.
Every now and again I build a death ray. But then I think also I'm not particularly, I mean, I obey the law because it's there and I will get punished if I don't. But I don't super, believe in the way the law works necessarily, or any form of completely structured order. I feel like chaos is important sometimes. But then on the other hand, I am definitely not a chaotic person. So
No, I definitely
I'm
view you
somewhere
closer
between lawful
towards.
neutral and true neutral.
Yeah. See, the thing is, it's very difficult for me to imagine a person being true neutral
Yeah,
because, I mean, even though I know you personally
yeah,
and everything you said is true, you sound like you sound true neutral, but it's so very difficult to just acknowledge that because you have your own personality. Everyone has their own personality. It's
yeah,
difficult to see true neutral as part of someone's personality. Like I always assume you're more lawful neutral than true neutral.
okay, yeah,
Uh, and it would be the same if I met anyone else that was true neutral. I always assume they have something else there. If I ever met a true
yeah,
neutral person, I wouldn't be able to see it
right,
because it doesn't shine through that you are completely true
yeah.
neutral.
So perhaps then part of the issue with a true neutral character is that they go unnoticed as true neutral. It's very easy for them to, um, particularly depending on the circumstance, with the flexibility true neutral can have, it's very easy to uh, kind of wave one side or the other and lean more heavily in a direction,
Yeah,
therefore making it seem more like you're that direction.
yeah. So that's why I mean it would be a perfect alignment for transitioning one alignment to another
Yeah,
as you're slowly leaning off of being neutral evil. You're going to become true neutral for a while
yeah,
until you start leaning more heavily towards neutral good, for
yeah.
example.
Um,
Because this is another thing. Uh, a lot of people assume alignments are permanent. Or maybe they don't assume so,
yes,
but they act as though that's their assumption.
yeah,
Uh, alignments can change very, very
yeah.
much.
I think it's important to say that um, one perspective on alignments is that your alignment dictates your actions. But I think you can also view it as your actions dictate your alignment. And that's the way I personally would prefer to see it. I think your alignment is more of a reflection of you. You shouldn't be limited by your alignment.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that part. Uh, having people be like, "Oh well, it's what my character's alignment says I would do."
Yeah,
No, that's I, I
no,
don't. That's not how it should be.
yeah. I think if you understand your character and they make you think they would make a decision that goes against their alignment in this moment, then that can make sense. That can work. You don't have to not do it because your alignment says so. And as a result of that, your DM may have your alignment change. I think that's something we haven't really done,
No,
but something that can happen, I
I
think, especially
think
if you're leaning towards RP and getting into
yeah.
character in that sense.
I've been trying to do that a lot more recently.
Yeah.
But actually, something like this did come up in season 5. Actually, the very end of it.
Um,
If you
oh, I
remember,
think it may have.
the party was captured by the Demilich. Did you call it
Uh, I called him a half lich because he
half
wasn't a
lich?
demi lich, which is an actual stat block,
Right,
but he
right.
wasn't a full lich yet.
So a half lich. That's why.
Yeah,
That's what kept getting me confused.
yeah,
Uh, so the half lich captured the entire party, or his minion did, and he offered us an option to join him or die. That was the choice we got.
yeah.
And my character, I believe, I was playing a lawful neutral.
I can get it up, but that sounds about right.
Yeah, I was boring. I couldn't think of a better alignment for him. I was playing lawful neutral, and poor Noam certainly did not want to join the Half-Lich. But eventually, one after another, all his party members joined the Lich's side, and Noam just eventually broke in.
Yeah.
He was left all alone. He had no way out. So he gave in, and at that point, his lawful alignment would have shifted to lawful evil, probably.
Yeah. That I think we had to end that campaign because because we were coming up for exams. We had to end it, and so on a very what's the word I'm looking for? Dour, very glum note. The party gave in, conceded to the Half-Lich. I think one of the players may have. In fact, no. Noam ultimately gave in, and as did the Barbarian, because both of you were trying to say that you shouldn't.
Yeah.
But the Half-Lich, he wasn't happy that you were so resistant to give in, so he killed you both and transformed you into animals.
Actually, no. We did eventually give in, because we weren't the only ones turned into animals.
Were you not? I think you were.
No, there was the warlock that got turned into a phoenix, but black and with green flames.
Oh yes, yeah, yeah.
I
There were the
don't
three
know
of you
how
then.
that worked,
I don't know.
but
Don't have to make sense.
yeah. Point is, we died.
Yes, you kind of died. You served him in another way, and the rest of the party that did give in all got mind controlled and transformed into vampires and undead, and worked for him.
Yep. Not a
Yep.
happy camper about being turned into a dog, not gonna lie.
No. I mean, at least the barbarian got turned into, I think it was like a great ape.
Yeah, I got to be a
She,
dog.
yeah, yeah,
Noam got the worst deal ever.
he did. He got turned into a dog. He was the most resilient, though. He needed to be punished the most.
Yeah, fair enough. But that does definitely speak about how characters can act out of alignment in certain situations and how
Yeah.
alignment can change.
Yeah.
Moving on, last of the neutral alignments. I can't wait to
Oh,
get evil.
before
Chaotic
we move on,
neutral. Oh,
I just
go
wanted
on.
to add a small addendum because I now realize what it sounds like. I'm not calling myself a sociopath. Okay. Don't. No, don't worry about it. I'm just saying that I have heard that that is what true neutral can sometimes be described as, but also I personally err towards true neutral. Don't worry, the two are not connected notes. Anyway, chaotic neutral.
Thank you for adding that addendum. That makes my day. Chaotic neutral,
It's
let's
important.
go.
Yes.
Oh boy, chaotic neutral, where do we begin? I personally dislike this alignment the most.
Okay.
And it's not on account of the alignment itself, because
Right.
I think there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah.
It's mostly on account of the fact of how people play out this alignment.
Yeah.
It's a lot of I do whatever I want, and it allows players to play as a video game.
Yeah. I think sometimes the issue is players choose chaotic neutral when it's not always the case, but sometimes players choose chaotic neutral when the party is supposed to be not evil because they wanted to play an evil character and they weren't allowed. It's the alignment that people pick when they want to.
They want to do bad things but don't want to be evil.
Yeah.
They want to have an excuse for, I don't know, stealing from the shop or going murder hobo.
Yeah. I think murder hobo is usually the one. But I feel like this alignment, chaotic neutral, it can justify that But that's not why you should be choosing this alignment. So
No, not
Igor,
at all.
tell us why you should choose this alignment.
Why should you choose this alignment? Well, it's the epitome of chaos. You break the rules, not because it's the good thing to do or it's the bad thing to do, but it's because it's what you do. Rules are there to be broken. And I think there's a lot of potential there, personally,
Yeah,
for a character
true
that,
anarchist.
yes, a character that wants to break the rules because, well, they don't like them. It
Yeah,
it's a very self-centered character, as all the chaotic ones I mentioned. The chaotic ones
yeah,
are very self-centered, but they don't like the rules, so they will break the rules. And there's a lot of potential for character growth there when they break rules that shouldn't have been broken and have to make
yeah,
amends. There's so much potential for all of the alignments, really, except for true neutral.
yeah.
There's a lot of potential there, and I feel is being underused.
Yeah. I mean, there are, of course, other examples of chaotic neutral characters, but the thing that popped into my head while we were just talking then about it is a character that jaywalks just because they can. Like they break the minor rules just to be petty and say that they broke them, or just for the sake of breaking them, because there is no good or evil involved. It is just
Yeah,
about opposition to law
they're
and
not
order.
malicious in their law breaking, but they're neither going to be benefiting society.
Yeah,
And yeah, that's chaotic neutral in a nutshell. What kind
yeah.
of chaotic neutral characters do you have in mind or have played in the
Um,
past?
I've not played many, but I've seen. I know that um, a fair few barbarians that I've DM'd for tend to be chaotic neutral.
I have also
Um,
noticed this trend.
yeah,
I think that's
it's
on account of the
because it is.
fact it's the
Oh,
easiest alignment without going evil to justify murdering things on sight.
yeah, um, but I think also because it's the one that, well, D&D. Here we go. D&D is a game that we are playing, and a lot of people view that as a form of stress relief. And sometimes the easiest way to sometimes getting super in character and having to focus on the lawful good and be um, what's the word, obstinate, um, opposing your party members and stuff and arguing can be very tiresome, and that's not what some people want.
Some
Some
people just
people
want to
want
get
to,
in there and kick ass.
yeah, they just want to relax and they want to do what they want without really having to put too much thought into it. And chaotic neutral is the alignment that lets you do that the easiest. It's not to say chaotic neutral is a bad alignment. As an alignment, it's very fun. There's a lot of potential. But I think that's what people tend to do with it.
And that's personally why I dislike it the most out of all the alignments.
Yeah.
Uh, Although it is competing with True Neutral. I'm not
Ooh.
sure which one I dislike more. Do I dislike sociopaths or psychopaths more?
Ooh.
I wonder.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
Uh, Another thing to mention about chaotic neutral, I think you're very right. People want to relax, and chaotic neutral would allow that. Uh, but also, going back to the murder hobo, it is the most evil of the non-evil alignments,
Yeah.
and I think it'd be a good, another good alignment to use as a transition alignment for a character that's
Yeah.
either falling from grace or trying to redeem their villainous ways. Either way,
Yeah.
I wish more people changed their alignment.
Yeah.
It's such a fun character arc potential.
It is.
I wish we played more roleplay, honestly. The sessions we do
Yeah.
when we roleplay a lot are my favorite sessions.
They are. I
Like,
think the last session of my game, I very much enjoyed
Yes.
DMing because you guys all really got into character, were arguing about a lot of things, and um,
Oh
made some
my
bold
goodness.
decisions.
Those two idiots messing around with the NPC. But one NPC that likes us at any
Oh,
level. Them two trying to. Oh my god. I should
yeah.
have cast Cloud of Daggers on the druid far sooner. I was being too hesitant to start party conflict. I should have cast Cloud of Daggers sooner.
No, I think it's good to be hesitant on party conflict. Um, just because actual verbal dispute, okay, but getting into damage when it comes to party conflict, that's can be acceptable. I think it was very much justified, but it's something that I think, all you players out there should be cautious about.
Yeah, don't cast Thunder. Sorry, not Thunderwave. What was it? Don't cast Shatter
Shatter.
on your entire party
No,
just
that
because
is
you
a
don't
bad
like them.
move.
That is a bad move. It'll get you killed. Unless you're
Yeah,
like level 20, then do whatever. I'm not gonna dictate. Level 20s are
wow.
demigods.
Well, yeah. Yes.
At the same time, if you're level 20 and you anger off three other level 20s, three demigods to one,
Yeah.
might not be the best
Outclassed.
idea. But yeah, that moves us onto the path of evil. And
Yes.
personally, the evil alignments are the most fun for me personally. I like them a lot.
Okay.
There's a lot more there that's obvious than with a good aligned player,
Yeah.
and it's often said any movie is only as good as the villain.
Yeah.
And I think with player characters, it's always nice to have an evil character in the party.
Yes.
Sneaky evil, maybe, or maybe evil by goals, but not how they act regularly. Motivations
Okay.
evil. It
Yeah.
brings in a bit of flavor to the party. And also, evil characters have an ability that good characters don't. Evil characters can be redeemed.
Yes.
They can
This
have
is
a
true.
redemption arc and they can become good. I think a
And in
character
the same
that
vein,
uh, yeah, you I know what you're about to say. Good aligned characters can fall from grace and turn to evil.
they can become corrupted.
And either way, I think a character that was good and became evil or vice versa,
Mhm.
either way, it's a very good change and I love it. It's character developing. It's
Yeah.
great. But at the same time, I feel it's far easier to design a character redemption arc than a falling from grace arc. And
This
it
is
would
true.
take a lot more for a good aligned person to turn to evil.
Yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah.
Which brings us to the first evil alignment, lawful
Yes.
neutral. Whoops,
The first
lawful.
evil alignment, lawful neutral. My goodness.
Whoops, got a bit ahead of myself there. Whoops, lawful evil. Let's go.
Yes. Yeah. Lawful evil is epitomized by devils,
It
the nine
is.
hells of Bator. It is ultimately, you are striving for evil. You are potentially malicious. You are for the betterment of yourself at the expense of others. And lawful evil does that through a system. Devils do it through deals, through pacts, through contracts that both sides have to agree to. But the devil has set it up in such a crafty, meticulous way that they come out on top regardless. And I think that tends to be the nature of lawful evil. Tend to follow some kind of system to enact your evil.
That's true. Although it's I think this is a good point to make it now. Uh,
Ooh,
the two sides of the alignment don't strictly have to be connected. For example,
that's true.
lawful evil, you can have a system to enact your evil.
Yeah.
Or, alternatively, you could just be lawful, as in you have a code of conduct, which isn't particularly evil, but you have
Yeah.
evil motivations, or you have an evil end goal. They don't have to be connected, is what
That's
I'm trying
true.
to say.
Yeah.
This only really works for the four alignments that are a combination of the four main ideas. So the ones in the corner of
Yeah.
the little chart, because you can't really be connected to neutral in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, Lawful
Yeah.
Evil, I think it's great, uh, a great alignment for any character that wants to rule, any tyrant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, when I think Lawful Evil, I usually think, well, I'm thinking humanoid Lawful Evil, because obviously devils.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking some evil lord or someone who strives for power in the greater world of
Yeah.
politics, especially.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
perhaps some vampire lord
Yeah.
or
Vampires are
uh,
a very good example, I think.
yeah. Well, you know me, Bailey. My favorite type of monster is undead,
Yeah.
and necromancers are usually lawful evil, and my favorite kind of lawful evil. They want power. They will make themselves an army and take it.
Yeah.
They're evil in their
Okay.
methods and their alignment. The goal is ultimately lawful. They want power. That's not
Yeah.
bad, strictly.
I, to me, lawful evil is if I were to allow a player to play an evil character in a good party, lawful evil is the one I would let them pick. Because I think lawful evil is more, um, the less overt of the evils. It is more subtle, or it can be more subtle. The methods can be more thought out. There is less random acting out and more process, thinking it through. And to me, that means that the evil character won't conflict with the party all the time by just doing evil things. There will be a build up to it. They can work with the party a lot more easily than, say, chaotic evil, because they don't mind that structure, that order of the
Yeah,
party dynamic, even if they're working with good.
I feel that lawful evil is, stereotypically at least, the most intelligent evil.
Yeah,
And really, it's the intelligent evil that you should be the most afraid of.
yeah,
Because smart villains make for the best villains.
yeah. I think there was a discussion. I think it was on D&D Beyond. That's D&D Beyond on YouTube. Um, I think they talked about um, the I can't remember what the video was about, but it at some point there was a discussion on lawful evil versus chaotic evil, and although when we get onto chaotic evil, we might discuss the um, kind of randomness of it all, but actually the lawful evil is the less predictable of the two, simply because there may be so many layers to the plan that it can't be predicted. Chaotic evil, it can be a lot more straightforward, whereas lawful evil is stereotypically more thought out, strategic, planned ahead.
Yeah, that's a very fair point. Although I will get to the discussion about chaotic evil as well,
Yeah,
because you know my opinion. Uh,
yeah.
but before that, have you played Lawful Evil characters recently, or know
Um,
anyone who has?
I have not played a Lawful Evil character. Trying to think. I think Gassan's in my current game that I'm running might be Lawful Evil. He's definitely
He
on the evil
is
spectrum.
lawful evil. He is a
Is he
lawful
lawful?
evil servant of Tiamat.
Yeah.
Although I haven't actually seen his lawful evil side shine through too much.
Yeah. I
I think
I
that's
think
just on the
with
fact, yeah, it's on account of the fact of the setting of the campaign and his
yeah.
character. He doesn't really have a way to show it.
Yeah. I think the one session where alignments really came out was last session, and he wasn't present for it. So he
Yeah.
didn't really get the opportunity to. But there'll hopefully be more opportunities.
And, well, something else I wanted to say. Completely forgot. Oh, yeah. I think it's also on account of the fact the player is far more used to playing on the combat side of the game.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's fair to say he's not a role player at heart.
Yeah.
Not that he acts out of character. He's just definitely far more into the strategics of the combat,
Yeah. I
which
think
is
that's
very
very
fair
fair.
because combat is a lot of fun.
It is. Much more of a war gamer than a role player.
Yeah. Uh, Moving on to
Okay.
lawful neutral. Lawful neutral? No. What?
Lawful neutral again. This is the
What
third
is
time, Igor.
what is my problem with lawful neutral? Ooh,
You
okay.
really want to talk about lawful neutral today.
I swear this is an accident. I'm sorry. Neutral evil. Let's go.
There we go. Neutral
Uh,
evil.
Now I know what we said earlier about lawful evil being the most intelligent evil, and you made a point to say it's the more discreet evil, the more subtle evil. But I
Yeah.
think a similar label can be applied to neutral evil.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
It honestly depends how you play the evil,
Yeah.
how much you, how heavy, how heavy you lay on the evil side. But neutral evil is potentially a lot of fun. I would know. I'm playing a neutral evil character. He's one of my
You
favorite characters
are.
yet.
Yeah.
Dafriel, the evil wizard of Oz. Except not really.
No. Not in the slightest.
But yeah,
Yeah.
10 out of 10 character.
Yeah. Do you want to explain why he's neutral evil?
I would love to. Thank you for asking. Jesus.
You're
Uh,
welcome.
he's neutral evil not because of his evil goals, nor his necessarily evil motivation. His backstory, he starts off with a pretty good life, and all that is taken away from him by someone he cared about. He wakes up in a burning house and just barely manages to get out alive. He then is forced to live with no home and no valuables, but most importantly, his precious book collection went up in flames. So he's been wandering the world for several years, and he is a wizard, so he delved into necromancy as a way of helping him stay alive. He's at a point now where he is working on restoring things to the way they were before the fire. He wants his home back, he wants his precious book collection back.
Yeah.
But most importantly, he wants to get out he wants to get out of that goddamn dungeon.
Yeah. I think um, on that note, um, I'm not sure whether we've talked about it too much or not, but the game that I am currently running is a Mega Dungeons style game. Not quite as heavy as some Mega Dungeons, but along those lines. And the characters were forcefully started there by some entity. So
We only
Davriel is
know him
currently
as
unable
the
to.
administrator.
Yes, the administrator seems to have brought the characters there, and as a result, Davriel is unable to be in his regular world and finish his goals.
He is pragmatic, and although his
Yeah,
alignments, his goals and alignment doesn't match the party strictly, considering he's working with Lawful Evil and two neutral characters, it doesn't really matter. But still, the druid was not happy to see him spawning zombies.
yeah,
Although his methods, goals, etc. don't align with a party, he wants to make it out of a dungeon alive, and the party has proven very useful at doing just that. He was
yeah.
unconscious for the first 2 or 3 encounters. Not
He
good days.
was. He underestimated the danger and walked ahead.
Never doing that
Rip.
again.
No.
But yeah, I like playing this character because his alignments and goals aren't evil. The evil part comes into his methods because he's not hesitant to kill. He's not hesitant
Yeah.
to act evil when it will further his goals. Although,
Yeah.
considering the party's actions, he's been surprisingly probably the more good aligned character.
Yeah. Compared to the rest of the party, he's probably the closest to good, even though 2 of them are neutral.
This is what I was saying earlier about neutral alignments being the closest to evil.
Yeah.
He's even managed to befriend an NPC. His name is Jeffred. He was trapped in the dungeon before, and he is a clothier who is being trained to become a wizard.
Yeah. I think depending on the order of episodes being put out, we may have already talked about Jeffred, or we may talk about him in a future episode. I don't know.
Oh yeah, because NPCs are coming up.
Yeah.
or
Or
have come
have
up.
happened.
Yes.
I don't know yet. But yeah, we
Alright.
will be talking about that in a bit more detail, I think.
I've talked a lot about my neutral
Yeah.
evil. What about neutral evil on your end, Bailey?
Neutral evil on my end. I haven't played any neutral evil. I think you're the only neutral evil character I've DM'd for.
Damn.
But to me, neutral evil is a lack of regret. It is about acting for your own sake to better yourself and not regretting the things you do to get there, not feeling bad for anything as you progress.
I feel like that pretty much sums up the evil part of Davriel.
Yeah,
He was not going to hesitate to sell Jeffred off as a slave to Drow if that meant getting out of the dungeon.
yeah,
And he was not going to regret it later on either.
no.
But that's
It's
mostly on account of me having short-term memory loss.
also true.
Not Davriel. Davriel would remember, but
Yeah, he would remember it for a whole 30 days in excruciating detail.
wouldn't be bothered though.
Yeah, I think that's Davriel very much plays into that. He has no hesitation to do good things because he isn't trying to be malicious necessarily. His
No, he's
evil,
just broken-hearted.
yeah, his evil is from his willingness to act in a manner that is detrimental to others. And the neutral evil means that he doesn't regret it as he moves forward.
That sums him up pretty well. Also, he's a necromancer, so he's 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Gotta love me a necromancer.
Yeah.
Finally,
Okay.
chaotic evil. Who boy, let's
Ooh.
get to it.
Chaotic evil. Give in to your hatred. Yeah. Chaotic evil. I have played one chaotic evil character. It was in a one-shot, I think. They were... Let me find them here. They were a paladin, Oath of Conquest, of Demogorgon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Where is it? Tarok, the Unchained.
I'm trying to
Yeah,
think, was
a
that
level.
one of my one-shots?
I think it was.
Which
It must have
one?
been. I don't actually remember which one, but I remember that it was because I wrote all of these things down onto paper at some point to take to your house.
Okay, does he have any special items that I would recognize?
No, he does not.
Okay.
Um,
Well,
yeah.
Chaotic Evil, I don't remember playing any Chaotic Evil characters. I usually,
Ooh.
for a long time, I've steered clear of Chaotic Evil, just because I wasn't confident in playing a Chaotic Evil
Okay.
character in a good aligned party, or even a neutral aligned
Yeah.
party. Now I realize I would have fit right in, but
Yeah.
Chaotic Evil.
I
What
think
is Chaotic Evil to you?
chaotic evil is the alignment of the evils that is most overtly evil. It is the one that you, as a good person, look at and are horrified by because what is happening now, and it's happening out in the open, probably, and it is truly heinous. It's the one that has the greatest capability for true evil.
I see. Well, we talked about Lawful Evil being the most intelligent one.
Yeah.
I think Chaotic Evil has a stereotype of being very dumb in its evil.
Yeah. I think
And
less
I don't.
dumb and more bestial.
Yeah, bestial. That's the proper word for it. And I don't think this necessarily has to be the case.
No.
I think we talked about this earlier off recording, but I would like to see a chaotic evil. I almost said lawful neutral again. Someone smite me. I think a chaotic evil character could very easily be played with chaotic evil motivations, but far more intelligent planning and execution. Have their
Yeah.
end goal be evil and chaotic, but have them executed in the most efficient way to reap as
Yeah.
much satisfying chaos in one moment as possible.
Yeah. I think that's. I was just finding the monster manual entry for demons, because demons are the epitome of chaotic evil, the um, infinite layers of the abyss, or the place where the chaotic evil things reside. And looking at demons, a couple of them have low intelligence, definitely, but a fair few of them are also above average intelligence. You've got the Marilith at +4. You've got the Glabrizu at +4. You've got the Balor at +5.
So yeah, definitely a lot of potential for chaotic evil masterminds.
Yeah.
Now,
Um,
what I have a problem with chaotic evil. I find it really, really difficult to find a suitable backstory to justify them being chaotic evil.
okay.
That could be on account of the fact I'm thinking with their ideals being like super, super evil, like heinous crimes that would terrify mortal men. Uh,
Okay.
I can't think of proper justification for a person to be chaotic evil.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at Tarok the Unchained. Um, he is a paladin, chaotic evil. I did actually write a backstory. I'm trying to scan through it. Ah, yes. Um, so, this character, the motivation I gave him was that he was previously a paladin of Asmodeus. So he was actually lawful neutral, because the purpose of serving Asmodeus was to help fight in the Blood War, to hold off the demons, thinking that they were weak and kind of dumb and disarrayed. and he pushed forward. So yeah, a turning point in the war presented itself when the Nine Hells of Bator was on the offensive. There was a moment where the demons were retreating, and so he followed them in as part of the charge and ended up in the Gaping Maw, which is the territory of Demogorgon. And the way that Demogorgon works is just looking upon his holy symbol. Or Demogorgon might actually be female, I can't remember. But just looking upon Demogorgon's holy symbol is enough to make one go mad. And so with that, with his charge into Demogorgon's domain, his chaotic evil came from his deterioration into madness. And he has such ideals as weakness is a festering wound, it must be removed, death to the heretics. That is his insane, chaotic evil motivation.
Yeah, you see, aside from madness,
Yeah,
there's no real justification to be chaotic evil.
it is hard to truly justify chaotic evil.
Yeah, although one good example of chaotic evil, not humanoid, but definitely a good example, which I like to mention, is one example of chaotic evil that I really like, and it's intelligent chaotic evil as well,
Ooh,
is the goddess Eris from The Adventures of Sinbad. It's
okay.
an animated movie, and Eris's sole purpose is to bring about ruin to a kingdom. She wants to turn the whole world into the image of her domain, a
Yeah,
desert with ruined civilizations essentially dotted around it. She wants nothing but the downfall of the lawful society, and she is very intelligent in how she makes that go about. Sets in
okay.
a chain of events, knows what she's using or who she's using, and her only downfall is that, well, she doesn't know them well enough because humans change alignments.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's pretty much. You should watch the movie. It's on Netflix. It's 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I think, yeah, to me, just kind of summarizing chaotic evil, a few buzzwords: um, ruin, destruction, bloodlust, carnage. Those are kind of the ideas of what the goals are or what the methods are sometimes. Not always. That's what
Actually,
I picture as stereotypical chaotic evil.
that reminds me. Uh, have you ever watched the animated Spider-Man series?
Some of it, not all of it.
One of my favorite villains was always Venom, and I feel like
Okay.
that's a good chaotic evil. But do you know what's a better chaotic evil? As a
Ooh.
character literally called Carnage.
Yes. Yeah.
That
Um,
is chaotic evil.
yeah.
Although I don't
I
know his
think,
backstory. If I got to look at his backstory, I'd probably design a character with something similar in mind.
yes. I know that I could ask this question aloud and an answer would definitely be provided. Um, but yeah, I think actually at the end of another spoilers here for the Venom film. I mean, I don't know how old it is now. I don't remember when it came out.
It's been
Um,
like 2 years.
it's been 2 years.
I
My
think it's
God.
been like 2 years.
Um,
I'll
yeah,
double
but the
check.
end of that, I think the end scene of that, or the credits scene,
Credit
was,
scene. They introduced
yeah,
Carnage.
yeah,
Well, not
they
Carnage. They
hinted at,
introduced uh, Cassidy.
yes, character that would um, host Carnage.
Yes. It is from 2018. It's been 2 years. Oh my god.
How has it been 2 years?
I don't know, but honestly, Venom and Carnage, their interactions in the animated show, I liked that a lot.
Okay.
Also, Cassidy's insanity. Oh my god, you're giving me goosebumps. Memories.
Yeah.
Spider-Man was the best.
No. Anyway, back on topic. We
Back
have
on topic.
diverted
Alignments.
fairly. Yes.
I think that sums
Anything
up.
more to add?
No, I don't think there is. If I were to play a chaotic evil nowadays, I'd definitely consider playing the more intelligent chaotic evil to subvert
Okay.
expectations a little. And who knows, a little bit of madness never hurt anyone.
Yeah. So you're suggesting chaotic evil as the end goal, but not necessarily the means.
Yeah, because
Okay.
they want to reap the most chaos out of a single moment.
Yeah.
Like, they're gonna set everything up to build up, and one pivotal point, they want to watch the entire house of cards fall down.
Okay. So I guess it's more about patience. Because a lot
Yeah,
of the way demons are depicted is they have no patience. It is about demanding destruction now. But you're suggesting a chaotic evil character with some patience who is willing to maybe do some slightly lawful things in the sense of waiting for a plan to come to fruition, but for a greater chaotic evil reward.
exactly. And I think you made a good point there with patience. A lot of chaotic alignments in general are deemed impatient, and on the
Yeah,
contrary, lawful alignments are deemed patient, which isn't necessarily always the case. And I think it's important to note
yeah,
that. You can have a character go by the book and be very impatient if things aren't the way they should be, for example.
yeah.
But I think that concludes the 9 alignments of Dungeons and Dragons.
Does. I think as part of the closing thing here, because this is becoming quite long,
Oh,
we should
yes.
probably talk about the relevance of alignments in D&D, particularly in 5th edition.
Yeah, I'm not qualified to talk about any other edition, I'll tell you that much.
No, I am
Uh,
not either.
I mean, you at least do some research. I've not done research about any edition apart from 5th
Shh!
edition.
Don't tell them. Don't tell them that.
Okay, I won't tell him that. You heard nothing.
Yeah, no.
Uh,
But I think looking at 5th edition, where do alignments come in? They come in on your character sheet. I think we talked about it earlier in the episode. The alignment should reflect your character. Some people think their character should reflect the alignment, and it's not a bad way of thinking, but it's one that I personally disagree with. I think we've kind of covered that. Where else do they come up?
uh, actually, 5th edition, I've heard in previous editions, alignments are a lot more prevalent. But
Yeah,
in this edition, 5th edition that is, Wizards of the Coast have taken great care to keep alignments out of pretty much everything. Spells
yeah,
that target supposedly evil and good, such as protection from evil and good, target certain creature types, not necessarily alignment. On a similar
yeah,
note, there's no spell that specifically targets things of a given alignment. The only
yeah,
real thing that comes to mind when it comes to evil or good are some artifacts.
yeah,
I'm thinking
yeah,
in particular of talismans of good and evil,
yes,
and the two big books.
yeah. The Book of Exalted Deeds and the Book of Vile Deeds, and then the Talisman of Pure Good and Talisman of Pure Evil, or something like that.
I think it's ultimate good.
That might be it, yeah. Um, yeah, I
Point
mean,
is,
so we've got magic item attunements to
um,
reflect the nature of the magic item connecting with a character. We've
yeah,
got, you were saying some spells although they kind of in the name of the spell claim to relate to good and evil, actually it's more about the nature of creatures. I will say some spells do consider alignment, but only the alignment of the caster, such as like Spirit Guardians.
That
The
is a good case, yeah.
Yeah, the damage type is based on whether you're good or neutral or evil, and that determines whether it's radiant or necrotic. Um, outside of that, there are you could consider sentient magic items. They have their own alignments.
They do have their own alignments. In particular,
Yeah,
I think the Swords of Answering. There's 9
yeah,
of them, each one with its own unique alignment and name.
yeah. I think not some magic items require attunement by specific um, alignments, but some have their own alignment instead. And although a good creature might be able to attune to an evil aligned sword, it could try to corrupt them, and I think that's a great opportunity for roleplay as well, and a potential for alignment shift.
Yes. Actually, now that you mentioned Spirit Guardians, I'm
Yeah.
imagining a cleric who always considers themselves good, and then one day they cast Spirit Guardians, and the damage looks obviously necrotic, and we just have this
Ooh.
shocking revelation that am I the bad guy?
Yeah.
Have I turned
That
to evil?
that could be really good.
Oh, juicy! Take note of these character ideas, guys.
I know.
Everyone take notes. This is how to design character arcs. Randomly come up with
Yeah.
ideas. Jot them
Yeah.
down.
Where else does alignment come in? The only other place which I think is really fun and weird and quirky is the Rakshasa. Spoiler alert if you're fighting a Rakshasa and you're a player and shouldn't know this information. But the Rakshasa is specifically vulnerable to magical piercing damage from a good aligned creature.
Magical piercing damage from a good line. What
Yep,
a picky little monster.
I
I
know.
want
So
that.
that good aligned rogue is going to be doing all of the damage with those daggers.
But not the clubs, just the daggers.
No, yeah, just the daggers. Yeah,
Ooh, that is
it's.
mean.
I think it's an interesting idea to tie. Don't do it with all creatures because then it's overdone and becomes far too complex. But I think a creature such as the Rakshasa, which is a fiendish creature and is supposed to have this thick hide that is protecting it, being specifically vulnerable to good creatures piercing through the flesh, I think that's very good flavor wise, and is an interesting weakness.
It is a nice weakness. Speaking of weaknesses, I feel the alignments are good where they are. I don't think they need to be incorporated in any more elements, such as class restrictions, as it previously was
No.
with Paladin.
Yeah.
Having the freedom to choose to be an evil Paladin, but have your code be good aligned, I think that could make for some interesting roleplay.
Yeah. I think any quirky combination or seemingly juxtaposed combination, particularly when it comes to alignment, can make things quite interesting and can really spark ideas for the rest of the character.
Yeah, I think we've mentioned this in our own conversations as well, but a druid that is evil, there's definitely a lot of potential there. There's a lot
Yeah.
of potential for any typically normal, good aligned characters to be evil.
Yeah.
I want to play an evil druid, is what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah. I think there is a tendency to see druids as good aligned or at least neutral. But mix it up. Throw some funky alignments out there, as long as the DM is allowing it. And as long as you're not becoming adversarial with the other players out of character.
Yeah.
I think that's important as well. But as
Don't
long
be a
as,
Rakma.
Yeah, I
Although
think
actually, now
as
I
long
think
as
back to it, Rachma being my first character and me not understanding the alignment chart very well, she was actually chaotic neutral, I think.
okay,
She wasn't evil.
yeah, I don't think she really did anything too evil.
No, she didn't. She just
You know,
didn't like being disrespected by the party.
yeah, I think it was the in character perception of a fiend worshipper, and that was Ragnar's downfall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, does that sum it up? Did we just sum up alignments for you in
I
2 hours
it is
plus?
perhaps yeah, it is maybe over 2 hours. But I think we have. I we I mean, if we think we've missed anything huge, we may come back to it. But I think that's alignments covered.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't.
And
I was going to say this one thing. We were speaking of flaws, and I got off on a tangent and didn't mention the point I was going to say.
of
So I'll
course
say
you
it
did.
now. Flaws. The alignments are good where they are, but they're even better when used in roleplay.
Yeah.
Having character flaws is how to make good characters, so long as the flaws make sense. And
Yeah.
alignments can really help come up with some flaws like that.
Yeah.
And
I think
that's
taking alignments to the extreme or looking at what the purest sense of that alignment is can really bring out some of the flaws. Because I think all of the alignments have flaws if taken to the extreme.
yep. So in conclusion, what can I say? Enjoy playing your wildly aligned characters. Uh, Especially enjoy playing evil because that's the most fun alignment to play. Objectively.
Join the dark side of the Force.
Oh my god. Good thing Bailey. Good thing Lewis didn't have to sit through this entire conversation.
Yeah, he will be dancing with the Spice Girls in Spice Heaven, unless he comes back.
Yeah, gotta arrange that trip from North Korea. It's gonna
It
be
was
a
brutal.
nightmare.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for joining us for this nice little trek through the alignment chart. I hope we've inspired some ideas, and if not, at least we started some neat discussions. We do take opinions, so at us, we will fight you, or I will fight you. I don't think these two idiots will fight you, but I will.
I will
Personally.
not be fighting over alignments. There
Oh,
will
I
be no
will.
struggle on your part. Oh. Okay. That has been alignments. It was a awfully lengthy discussion, but we had a lot to say, a lot of opinions to share. We hope we've inspired you, and if we haven't, hope you at least have some more ideas on alignments and start thinking about them in a deeper sense. I think that's all. Goodbye.